What's up, baseball family? This week we're going to talk about manager shuffling. A new baseball league is emerging, and we've got World Series updates right now.
9+ Us presents the Baseball Together podcast with your hosts, Blackjack Brad and Kansas City Little Big Briggy Blue Eyes. And now, Baseball Together.
Welcome back, baseball family, to this special Halloween edition of the Baseball Together podcast. I'm Captain Briggy Blue Eyes, and I got my quartermaster here with me, Blackjack Brad. How are you, sir?
I'm so good and so excited for this. And wouldn't you know it, of course, we're both pirates. I mean,
yeah.
Absolutely. What else would we be?
Dilly.
Dilly. I need an old-timey mug.
You do. Something pewter. Okay.
Yes.
Let's get into this. First, I want to let everybody know that we hope you are having a wonderful Halloween, that everything is set and ready to go, and that you will be celebrating. Also hope that if you're not celebrating, you're also very happy about that. But what you should be doing is getting into sports betting, because it is rapidly rising in popularity, and what we have decided to do is connect you with an opportunity to either get started or to get ahead in that effort. Having multiple sportsbook accounts is the simplest way to maximize your profits, and there has never been a better time to sign up than right now. When you visit our sign-up page at signupexpert.com/baseball, you'll be connected to all the sportsbooks in your region, along with a review of every platform and its unique benefits. All of the sportsbooks, they all have valuable sign-up offers for new users, and when you register through the Baseball Together link, you'll automatically receive the top offer at each one. So when you use multiple sportsbooks, we're learning that you ensure that you can always access the best available odds. That's super key to successful sports betting. So if you want to take advantage of these benefits and support the show, sign up for your next sportsbook at signupexpert.com/baseball. As always, there's a link in the episode description and in the doobly-doo on YouTube. Also, if you're on YouTube, we are dressed up. And if you aren't on YouTube, you should go over there, hit the like and subscribe button so that you can see all the shenanigans we're pulling, because we're dressed up for Halloween.
Yeah. And then like and subscribe for sure.
Yeah, definitely do that part. All right, it helps a lot more than you know. Let's get into some current events, Mr. Brad, man. Blackjack Brad. Dusty Baker has officially announced. Huh?
Let's do it, oh captain, my captain.
Oh, okay. You're going to talk over me again? I'll make you swab the deck. I've always wanted to say swab the deck to somebody.
This is not any lashings.
That's right.
Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Dusty Baker, well, don't stow away. Wow, this could go on for a long time. Dusty Baker has officially announced his retirement from baseball. This, I feel like, is bittersweet, but also certainly justifiable.
Do you know he's only 74? I thought he was like 10 years older than that.
I did too. Yeah, he's 74 years old. He played from 1968 to 1986. That is a 19-year baseball career. He was with the Dodgers for 8, the Braves for 8, the A's for 2, and the Giants for 1 year. And he was part of the Giants coaching staff from 1988 to 1992. Then he became a manager. And when he started helming the boat, that was in 1993. And he was with the Giants until 2002. Then he moved over to the Cubs from 03 to 06, the Reds from 08 to 13, the Nats from 16 and 17, and then he's been with the Astros 2020 through 2023. That is an absolutely enormous career.
It
and
is.
not only in terms of length or duration and chronology, but in terms of like the awards and recognition and winning. He's had 3 pennants, 1 World Series title, and 26 ejections. Now that's something we can all be excited about.
You know, it shocks me honestly that it's only 26.
Me too.
For all those years, only 26. But the other thing I saw a stat the other day that said that between being a player, member of coaching staff, and a manager, Dusty Baker has been a part of just over 3% of all Major League Baseball games that have ever been played.
Whoa.
That's a lot. That's a really big number for one guy.
That's a stat right there, Mr. Brad.
And that is the kind of stuff that got me the rank quartermaster. Thank you very much.
Right. For those of you that don't know, the quartermaster is the first mate on a pirate ship, whereas on a military vessel, it would be a first
Somewhere
mate.
else.
So
Yeah.
the quartermaster does something else. All right. The more manager stuff. Congratulations to Dusty Baker. Thanks for coming. Moving on. Giants signed Bob Melvin. We talked about it a little bit last week. They had permission from the Padres to do an interview. That lasted like 18 hours, and then they hired him. And here we are. So it's a 3-year deal. And I want to know from you, baseball family, was Bob Melvin leaving more about joining the Giants or leaving the Padres? That's the question. And it can be both. Brad, what do you think?
I think it's both, honestly.
Okay. Is that it?
A big part of it was he was ready to be done with the Padres. Like we talked about before, a lot of egos in that clubhouse to manage, and that is tough. And I don't and I said last week that he hasn't proven to have the ability to manage egos. He just hasn't. I don't know that he doesn't have the ability. He just hasn't done it well thus far. Right. But the other thing is that he's from the Bay Area. He's from Palo Alto, California.
Yeah,
So,
I did not know that until you brought it up.
Yeah. and I saw that. I was like, of course. Because I saw that he was from Palo Alto. I was like, where is that? It can't be Southern California. As I looked at it, it is right on the water, right next to San Jose. So he is not far from where he grew up, being with the Giants. And he wasn't far from there being with the A's either. So it makes sense that he was as comfortable as he was with Oakland for as long as he was. And then now going back to San Francisco, the Giants... I know we talk about how the manager doesn't have like I don't know, I want to say like a huge impact, but I think it'll be significant enough. The Giants could get back to where they were contending in the NL West again next year.
Yeah. It's hard to say the manager doesn't have a huge impact though. Like,
well, the thing is though, is
on the team.
It does, but I think part of it, though, is that the manager's role has been diminished over the last decade or so because the front office has so much more to do with everything with analytics, right?
Totally, yeah.
Where they're like, okay, you're starting this lineup against this pitcher because they're splits, right? Like this guy hits best against lefties during day games, so he's going to hit over your regular starter.
Yeah,
like stuff like that. And so the manager's role in that sense is diminished, but at the same time, though, he's got to know when to stick to the playbook that they've outlined before the game and when to go with his gut and make another change. Like in Toronto, they threw Schneider under the bus for pulling for who was it? Was it Barrios, right? They pulled Barrios.
Yeah, Barrios.
In the division
that
series.
feels like 100 years ago.
I know, or in the wild card series, and the GM was like, "Oh, that was all his decision."
Yeah,
I don't believe you.
I don't believe you. One of these things is not like the other.
Yeah, exactly. He can't be the only manager in the entire league that has sole autonomy over what decisions are made in the game. So I don't believe you.
Yeah, I don't believe you either.
But no, I think that Bob Melvin's going to have a tremendous impact in San Francisco, though.
I do too. I think it's going to be awesome. Speaking of awesome, it's awards season. And if you don't know what award season is in baseball, this is the time of year where we start to get into Gold Gloves, Silver Sluggers, and notably today, the Roberto Clemente Award. Aaron Judge has won the Roberto Clemente Award for community work. He will get to wear the number 21 logo on the back of his cap, his game caps, for the rest of his career. And that denotes that he's a part of this group of particular winners of the Roberto Clemente Award.
Another guy, if you've never seen it, Anthony Rizzo is another guy off the top of my head who's won it, who has that same thing on the back of his hat.
That's right. That's right. So it makes a lot of sense that he won. Right. Because he spends a lot of time in the community, especially this season. He's been injured, so he's had an opportunity to not play baseball.
I was really hoping you would read that the way that I wrote it, Brig.
Yeah, I did. I got it.
Because I said that it makes sense.
And you started laughing.
Because he did. He had so much time. Like with that injury, it's not like he couldn't walk. He could go out and spend time in the community. Absolutely, he's going to win it. For sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
It only makes sense.
and we should do a breakdown on how the award, what it means, and how you earn it, and
Yeah.
different things like that. But
Yeah.
needless to say, at this point, Roberto Clemente did a tremendous amount for the people in and around, but especially outside baseball.
Right.
And
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but he died in a plane crash on his way to doing service in Puerto
philanthropy.
Rico.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
So
That's exactly right. So we'll talk more about that a different time. But congratulations to Aaron Judge for winning this year's Roberto Clemente Award. Well deserved and well time spent not on the field. Way to go.
and he's also the tallest winner ever.
That's a fact. All right. Cleveland's baseball club is meeting with a particular manager regarding their new opening because Tito's retired. That manager is Craig Counsell for Cleveland. Now, now, I don't understand. Because everything we heard and all the reports and all the rumors and everything indicated that he would probably look at the Mets because he was going to follow the GM over,
Right.
whatever that guy's name was.
This makes a lot of sense why he would just even go in and have a meeting with Cleveland.
Sure.
And I didn't even think about this until literally just now, Brig.
Okay, I want to hear it.
Okay, so he's probably got that job with the Mets wrapped up in a bag. He's just got to take it and open it, right?
I'll bet you're right. Yeah.
So I think what he's doing is saying, Cleveland was going to give me X amount of money over Y amount of years.
Yeah.
I really like what they've got going over there. They got some pretty good pitching. Could use some work offensively, but I can work with pitching. I did it in Milwaukee, right?
For sure.
Feels like a pretty good fit to me.
Yeah.
So unless you give me X plus Z and match Y years, I'll just go to Cleveland.
Yeah.
Weak division.
Totally.
Have a really good chance of making the playoffs every single year.
Yeah.
So why the heck not?
That's interesting perspective, and you're right. That's one I hadn't thought about until now because, I think
could
though
be a leverage play.
Why?
Nothing more.
But let's talk about all the reasons it doesn't feel like a good fit, because I think there are a number of them, and you brought up one as a potential leverage in the negotiation, but I think that being a smaller market is probably a downside. It's probably something he would.
Well, that's the thing, though, is it's easy for New York to match and then some,
right?
What Cleveland offers, right?
Yeah.
So he could just be like, "This is my base offer, and if you don't match or go above, then I can easily get this here, and potentially get more later."
But what I'm saying is, like, let's say New York doesn't offer him anything. Does he end up in Cleveland? Or if he doesn't like New York's offer?
If New York doesn't give him any, like, say, like the Mets are like, nah, we don't need you, right?
Yeah,
there's plenty of fish in the sea. I could see him ending up in Cleveland because, like I said, I think it works because that team is not too dissimilar from what he had in Milwaukee. The bats aren't quite as potent, right? Like there's no Christian Yelich on that team, but maybe Jose Ramirez.
Quan,
really good hitter. Quan.
Yeah,
right.
Quan's good. Yeah.
The Nailers are hitting these days.
They are.
Right. So, and you've got some pretty good pitching.
Yeah.
You've got some pretty good pitching. I could see him coming in being a difference maker.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
With the way he manages that pitching staff.
Craig Counsell would be the second greatest thing to ever happen to Cleveland.
What was the first? LeBron James?
No, Tito.
Oh.
The Tito and his dad, Tito.
Oh, okay.
Terry's Francona.
The Terry's Francona. Yeah, there you go.
All right, let's move on. Major League Baseball has announced that they are going to examine the playoff format after what happened this year. Let's just recap. 3 of the 4 teams that had a bye in the opening round lost, or they lost their division series.
Card. Yeah.
Yeah. 2 of those were sweeps, And the question we're all wondering is it the teams that need to change how they manage that time off and what, how they approach that? Is it the team's responsibility, or is it Major League Baseball's responsibility? So there's no announcement as to what plans are being made or what level of discussion this is reaching. No changes are imminent or anything like that, but
Right.
it's going this direction in circles right now with Major League Baseball executives.
Yeah, and I think it is up to the teams.
Yeah,
Because
I
it's
do
up to the
too.
teams to prepare for every series. So if you're upset about getting swept in the division series after having 3 to 4 days off, that's on you, my friend.
Be better.
Figure out a way to get your players ready, to keep them ready during their days off when there are other teams playing.
Yep.
Because Houston figured out something. Houston found a way.
You're right.
And
Oh my goodness.
granted, they were playing the Twins, a team that we didn't expect to go anywhere, right?
For sure.
The Twins are overmatched, but still, the Astros came in ready to play, and they went on to the championship series. And they pushed that to 7 games. So I don't think you'd be like, "Well, it's a problem." It's your preparation.
Yeah,
is what it is.
For
Find a
me,
way.
this lands on the club from top to bottom.
Yeah,
The players,
no, they don't need to
the
do anything about it. It comes down to the teams and their preparation going into the division series. That's all it is.
Yep, I agree.
And even Brig, you could say how they end the season, because the Braves, the Dodgers, both coasted to the finish line. The Orioles didn't really, but they didn't have the best finish to the season.
No, they didn't.
Right?
Yeah.
But no, the Braves and the Dodgers certainly coasted, and that, I think, really hurt them going into the division series.
Yeah, because you're saying it set a tone, and then time off only forwarded that. Makes sense.
Well, it's like Dansby Swanson says, winning culture doesn't flip a switch.
Right.
You can't do that. You've got to have it set. And by just, we got where we wanted to be. Okay, now we get ready for the postseason. No, let's play some competitive baseball through the rest of the season and get ready for the postseason. How about that?
Yeah. Steamroll. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we'll keep you updated, baseball family, on how that development goes. We're probably not going to hear anything for a very long time, but it is in discussion.
I think that's all we're going to hear about it for now, is that they're going to talk about it. I don't think, like Rob Manfred even said, we're not going to change anything. It's only been 2 years.
Yeah, exactly.
So at this point, I think they're just going to kind of keep it on the back burner, keep it in the back of their minds, and see how things go next year, right? Yes. And then, I think it's just something they're going to consciously track from here on out.
For sure. Now, in exciting news, and we'll talk about Rob Manfred a little bit later, but in really exciting news, there's a new baseball league representing the Middle East and South Asia, Asia Minor, and other places like that. It's called Baseball United, and it will be headquartered in Dubai. The teams are in India, Pakistan, and the UAE, the United Arab Emirates. So far, it's a 4-team league. 4 teams, which is just great.
But I think that's how the KBO. I mean, most leagues like this start up really small. Like the KBO is still only 8 teams.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So 4 teams is plenty, especially since their season probably won't be too long. We don't have a whole lot of details, but we are going to get into it later for you. Yes. If you need to scratch the baseball itch during the winter, this is one way to do it, and we're going to get you prepped for it on a later day. But anyway,
and also we never stop talking about baseball. So if you're with us year round, that's where we are. We're still here every week talking about baseball. Doesn't matter how. It's awesome. All right. That's why you got to subscribe. Okay. So 4 teams in the league. The Mumbai Cobras, that's the Indian team. Barry Larkin is the honorable general manager, and Chris Sabo is the manager right now. Karachi, that's in Pakistan. They are the Karachi Monarchs. Adrian Beltre is their honorable GM, and Miguel Tejada has been named as their manager. The Dubai Wolves, Felix Hernandez is the honorable general manager. Honorary.
There, that's what it's like. Honorable doesn't sound quite right.
I don't know why I keep saying honorable.
Probably they are. I'm sure they are honorable. And I did abbreviate it as honorable. You're right.
Very nice, honorable, and very honorary as well, general managers. So King Felix in Dubai. Maybe he's hanging out with the kings and princes and all that. That would be.
He might be.
I'll bet he is. You think they're telling him he's King Felix over there? I bet they are.
I'm sure that's how they got him there.
Yeah, I'll bet you're right. John McLaren is the manager there. And then the Abu Dhabi Falcons. Nick Swisher is the honorary, if not honorable, general manager. And Dennis Cook is the manager. We have a few ex-Major League Baseball players who've already been drafted in. This is where it gets really fun. And this is where we will be giving you more information as we go along. But right now, we know that Robinson Cano,
don't you know,
Bartolo Colon, Big Sexy himself, Pablo Sandoval, Sir Didi Gregorius, and Andrelton Simmons have all been drafted into Baseball United, headquartered in Abu Dhabi. Brad, do you have anything you want to say before we move on?
Yeah, who's your team, Brig? Who you got? Do you have a team
yet? I don't know yet. I'm going to wait till I do all the things I got to do, and then I will decide. Do you picked yet?
I do. I have a team, yeah, and I think it's pretty obvious based on who we have here so far because we got King Felix as their honorary or honorable GM, and John McLaren, former Mariner manager and longtime bench coach, by the way.
Yeah,
I am a Dubai Wolves fan all the way. Absolutely.
Well, on that logic,
dyed in the wool, if you will.
Don't I need to be Nick Swisher's Abu Dhabi Falcon? I don't know.
You might.
I might have to, but I don't know if I feel good about it. You know, I'd like to feel good about it, and I may end up coming back to that, but I don't know. I don't actually know.
Because the hard thing is that the Karachi Monarchs have Adrian Beltre as well, right?
I know. Yeah,
everybody's favorite. So that one's tough. But no, with King Felix and John McLaren, absolutely going with the Dubai Wolves. Can't go any other way.
100%. Wouldn't expect you to do anything else. I hope you lose there too. Okay, so
brutal. That team's stacked though. We'll get there.
Yeah. All right, Game 1 of the World Series, and we're going to get into the World Series next. But Game 1 of the World Series drew the lowest ratings for Game 1 of the World Series ever. In the history of televised World Series Game 1, this was the lowest recorded rating ever. Reports say that it drew 9.18 million viewers. Previous low was 2020, COVID season, 9.27 million viewers. Brad, I want to know what's going on while I look something up, okay?
Okay.
What do you think?
So there are a couple things I can think of, possibly. I wonder how much cord cutting has to do with this, right?
Sure.
Because I'm sure that there are people who have cut the cord and then instead of watching it at home, they're either going to a bar, going to a friend's house, or mooching off somebody else's cable or satellite subscription to watch on their Roku, Apple TV, whatever, right? Or pirating a feed somewhere online that's not tracked. And as Wes Mantooth says, those rating systems are flawed. They don't account for homes that have more than one TV in them.
That's right.
Let me know if you get that reference, by the way. So I do feel like it is a little bit skewed, and I feel like more than ever, we're getting people who are watching in different ways than just on their TV at home, right? Because I don't know, like I said, like even people who are streaming normally, like if somebody's logged into their DirecTV on their iPhone and they're watching that way, I don't know how that tracks, right?
Yeah.
So, or if you have somebody across the room who's logged into their own DirecTV or logged into the same DirecTV watching on an iPad, I don't know how that tracks. Are they tracking devices? Are they assuming number of viewers per screen? I don't know how that works. But I feel like it is more obscure now than it's ever been. And I think that has a lot to do with it. But on the other hand, I will say this about this World Series. I didn't think it was going to draw a lot because of who's in it.
Fair.
Nobody cares about the Diamondbacks outside of Arizona mostly, right?
Out
of the Southwest, nobody really cares about the Diamondbacks. And the Rangers, the Texas team that everybody loves to hate these days is the Astros. It probably would have been better, maybe, if the Astros had made it to the World Series and you had a villain to watch, rather than the Rangers, who are like a feel-good story. Oh, they've never won a World Series. Only like their second or third appearance, whatever.
Second, right.
Yeah, and this is the Diamondbacks. It's their second appearance to the World Series. They've got one under their belt. See if they can get one again. Pull up Marlins and go 2-0 in the World Series,
Cinderella stories, yeah.
Yeah,
right.
but how many people are paying attention to that, especially the casual baseball fans? Like, oh, I don't care. The Yankees, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, the Braves, the Astros, they're not in it. I don't really care.
Right.
Football.
So I had a friend of the podcast by the name of Mike Farnes sent me a message, and he said, I don't think the world is ready for a Diamondbacks Rangers World Series. This was before the decisions were made at the end of the championship series. And so we talked about it a little bit, and basically he made those same arguments, and he made some other arguments that are much more pejorative, but I'll leave those for the text feed. Essentially, though, he said the same thing. He agrees with you. And Brad, do you know what the most watched Fall Classic has been?
Since ever?
Since ever. The most watched World Series. Not just game one, but the most watched World Series.
I would think probably 2001 had a lot to do with it. Was up there. I don't know if it's the most watched, but it's probably top 5.
I don't have that data. I do know that last year's series between the Astros and the Phillies came in at 12.02 million.
2 of the biggest cities in the country watching.
Right.
But and granted, DFW, highly populated. Phoenix, highly populated.
Also football season.
But I don't know how much people care about football in Phoenix right now.
That's true.
But also in Phoenix, though, you got a lot of Dodger fans.
That's true.
A lot of transplants.
So the most watched World Series since 2004 is 2016. The Cubs and the Indians. That's 23.4 million viewers.
Yeah, because of the Cubs. There's Cubs fans everywhere, and there's a lot on the line for that history.
No doubt. Okay, baseball family, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get deeper into the World Series. We're going to talk about games 1, 2, and 3.
Welcome back, baseball family. Thank you for taking that quick break with us. So the World Series is going on right now. I can't say like this moment because the game just ended. We waited for it to end before proceeding. But we'll get to that in just a minute. We'll get to game 3 in just a minute. But a few things of note that have gone on so far. First off, Ketel Marte has been on an absolute tear since his first postseason game ever. The dude has gotten a hit in every single postseason game he has ever played in his life. He is on a 19-game hitting streak in the postseason. That is a record for those of you keeping track, those of you who are actuaries. And that's it's just flat out incredible, Brig. It's amazing because you get to the postseason and you see the best pitching in the league. You have the biggest moments that you're going to see in your entire career. And that's where they separate the goods from the greats, right? In the postseason. Like, that's the reason Chris Taylor continues to have the role that he has with the Dodgers, because he's okay during the regular season, but you come to the postseason and that dude's lights out, right? Like, you need a big hit in the postseason. Chris Taylor's the guy who's going to get that for the Dodgers. And we've seen so far, if you need a base runner, Ketel Marte is going to get you a base runner.
He's the guy.
For sure. So it's amazing. I'm absolutely in love with it because he's a former Mariner, and this is the guy who I was hoping he would pan out to be. And it's amazing.
Well, good. So, I got a question about that.
Oh, go ahead.
Do you this is like the second or third time tonight on the show where you've said something like, because they used to be a member or associated with the Mariners, I am therefore on their team and rooting for them and whatever.
Okay.
It's interesting because as a Yankees fan, the margin is very, very narrow. Or I'm like, yeah, but like, yeah, he used to be a Yankee. So like, for instance, like Aroldis Chapman is a perfect example. It's a timely example.
Right. Yeah.
He's not doing too hot right now
No.
in the postseason.
No.
And I'm like, yeah, good.
So
You know?
it has a lot to do with their performance when they were in Seattle,
Okay,
right?
good.
Like,
Yeah, okay, good.
Like every Mariner fan is forever a King Felix fan because of what he did,
For
and
sure.
hates everybody who was part of the front office when he was a Mariner because they wrecked his career.
Totally.
Right? Absolutely
Yes.
wasted all of it.
Yeah.
John McLaren from earlier was like the most likable guy in the world. I
Yeah.
think he replaced I want to say he replaced Bob Melvin. He was
Oh,
the bench coach for so long, and he was so funny in the Funny Mariners commercials. He was just absolutely hilarious. Everybody loved him. All the fans knew who he was and loved him. Because how often do you know and love the bench coach, Brig? Let's be honest.
that's what I was
Not
going to
often,
say.
but we all know who he was. And when they promoted him to manager after, I think it was after Bob Melvin was fired, it's like, yeah, we love this guy. It's awesome. But he was a terrible manager. He was so bad. But we all
Yeah.
still liked him because of how he was the bench coach. And Ketel Marte was good in Seattle. A lot of the only saving grace for the deal that the Mariners made sending him to Arizona was they got Mitch Haniger back out of the deal.
Right. It's
If it
just
had been
something I
anybody
noticed.
else, it'd be another one. I was like, God.
Yeah, listen, I just want to know if this is a common thing in the rest of the baseball community. Like, baseball family, tell us what you think. Are you rooting for former players that happen to be in big situations like this, or is it more of like you can have him?
Well, so I'm cheering for Paul Sewald. We'll get into that in a little bit.
Right,
But
exactly.
yeah, and like I think just about every Mariners fan is.
Yeah.
Because he was one of the most likable guys on that team the last few years.
Right.
So,
Well,
but as
there
far
you
as like Sean Figgins goes, like that guy can go to hell. But anyway.
Right.
Anyway,
Fair enough.
because he stole money while I was in Seattle. Forgot how to play baseball. Anyway, let's move on to game one.
Yeah, there you go.
So, first off, Adolis Garcia set a record for the most RBIs in a single postseason. 20, he has driven in 22 RBIs this postseason. That he's hit that number in game one. It maintains through game three because he did not drive in anything in game two or game three.
Yep.
This was previously held by the Cardinals' David Freese. And you want to know something super funny, Brig? I think if I heard this right, wasn't Adolis Garcia originally? He was originally in the Cardinals organization.
Yep.
And went to Texas as part of with David Freese.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah, they're connected.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
It's crazy the way things like that work out in baseball because it's like such a large world, but at the same time so small.
Totally.
It's bananas.
Yeah.
Just crazy. So he broke the record with his 60th plate appearance. Freese set the record with his 71st plate appearance in 2011. It's no wonder, though, that Garcia set that with 60 as opposed to 71 because the dude has been hitting homers like crazy.
Yeah.
Is that a mark
I
that
agree.
gets broken in the next few years the way we're seeing runs scored right now?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
Next year, year after, how long do you think it lasts? And what do you think he gets to? What do you think he gets to? Do you think he gets to 25, 26, 30?
Oh, I don't know about 30.
30
I could see 25. I could see 25.
Well, think about this, though. I mean, he hits 2 more 3-run homers. If this series goes 7, he gets 2 more 3-run homers. That's 28, and then drives in 2 on a double.
Yeah.
Or
I could see it.
Yeah.
He's got time. There's time. The way the series is going.
Yeah. Certainly. He also extended his home run streak to 5 games in a row, an RBI streak to 7 games in a row after game 1. Only 3 players ever have driven in runs in 8 consecutive playoff games. Ryan Howard did it in 2008. Alex Rodriguez did it from 2007 to 2009. And your boy, Brig, Lou Gehrig, did it in 1929 through 1932. But Adolis Garcia, spoilers, like I said, didn't get to it in game 2. So his streak ended at 7.
Yep.
Why don't you go ahead and tell us about the rest of game 1 here, Brig?
Yeah.
You mind if I talk about this with Corey Seager, and then I'll
Go
turn it over to
ahead.
you?
Go
Okay,
ahead.
so this is the thing is crazy is that the Diamondbacks had it wrapped up in the ninth inning.
They did.
Had a 5-3 lead going into the ninth. Paul Sewald comes in to close it out. The dude has been absolute nails this postseason. Has not given up a run until this night, in which he walked a batter. And then came Corey Seager. And this to me was like textbook Paul Sewald. After that first walk, I wasn't watching the game. I had other stuff going on that night.
Yeah.
And we were at a Halloween function. But I would have texted you, Brig, as soon as he walked that dude, been like, this game's gonna be tied here in just a minute. Because this is what happens with Paul Sewald every single time. If he walks the first or second batter, what he does is he overcompensates and leans more toward the heart of the plate. He does this every single time. And I don't know if he does it consciously or subconsciously, but I feel like this is what happens every single time. Is as soon as he walks a guy, he gets a little bit fatter on the plate. And he was able to get away with it with Marcus Semien because he has been ice cold.
Yeah,
right?
that's fact. Yeah.
But you get the machine up there, Corey Seager, and you can't give that guy anything over the plate anytime, anywhere. And you certainly couldn't put him on because then you've got the winning run at the plate, right?
Yeah.
With Garcia or Lowe, right? You don't want those guys coming up as the winning run.
No, you don't.
And so you kind of pitch to him, and Sewald got too fat on the plate, and Seager put it in the seats where it belonged.
It was just a monster.
It was, and it's crazy because, like I said, as a Mariners fan, I saw this several times throughout the year, where he would walk a guy in the ninth inning, like, oh shoot, this game's about to be tied or over.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll do you one better. Corey Seager's game-tying 2-run home run is only the 14th time in World Series history, Brad, that turned a would-be loss into a tie or a win.
That's crazy.
I thought that was a pretty cool statistic. So the Rangers, they won the game 6-5, and Adolis Garcia hit a freaking nuke to off, and it was
that.
so, dude.
I mean, it was an Oppo taco, right? An Oppo bomb.
Yeah, it was an Oppo taco. Yeah.
I thought after people describing it as a nuke, I thought it was going to be like a lot farther because I felt like it kind of snuck over the wall.
Well, yeah.
I thought it had a chance of not making it out.
Because it was Oppo, though, I was like, dude, because he did miss a little bit, and it did.
He did, and that's the thing. He did miss it a little bit. You're right.
But that guy's so strong, though, that had he got it clean, it would have been. I mean, now I'm unapologetic. But anyway, I just like Garcia. We'll talk more about him in a minute.
I like him when he's not playing the teams I'm cheering for.
Yeah. It ended in the 11th inning. Guys, this was the first time this entire postseason we've had free baseball. And we learned that there's no Manfred man on second
Right. My
base.
mom actually texted me that day, and she said, are they using the runner on second? I was like, I don't remember.
I couldn't remember either, but it didn't start. The 10th didn't start with a runner on second. And I was like, oh, good.
Yeah, that's the way it should be.
It was such a pure game at that point. And I just was very happy. The whole thing was a very pure game, and it was exciting.
And hopefully, my last thing on the Manfred man, hopefully the fact that game ended the 11th goes a long way to them being like, maybe we don't need it so much. Yeah, or maybe we can start it on the 12th.
I totally agree. So the game lasted like 4.5 hours, though, because once they started going to their bullpen really heavily, both teams.
Oh, it takes forever every time.
That slowed everything down. I remember looking up. Everybody else fell asleep. It was me and the dog. And I'm like, what? Why is this game? And then I looked at the clock and I'm like, holy crap. Of course, this has been a 1,000-year-long game. So anyway, that was also interesting. It's probably not the longest game in World Series history, but we can go look at that. Ketel Marte, like we said, he hit a double. That extended his postseason streak to 17. That was at the time. Really interesting, the D-backs stole 4 bases in game 1 alone. That is to me incredible. And I think Christian Walker was one of them, if I'm not mistaken, which makes it even more incredible.
He was, yeah. Like I think
Yeah.
technically it was considered a stolen base, but I think it was mostly like defensive indifference.
Indifference, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Marte had one, Walker had one, Alec Thomas
Carroll
had one. Carroll didn't have one.
Oh, he didn't have one. Oh,
Geraldo Perdomo had the other one.
Oh, cool. So here, but it was such a, like, we expected a pitching duel between Evaldi and Gallen, and they both had really strong outings at times, and then they got really shaky at other times, and it really balanced it out. It became a really balanced game. Evaldi faced 22 batters, struck out 8. He earned 5 runs on 6 hits and 1 walk. That was over 4 2/3 innings pitched. Then Gallen had 22 batters faced, struck out 5. He earned 3 of the runs on 4 hits, and he gave up 4 walks. That was across 5 innings pitched. So really, the comparison between the two is fascinating.
I think
How
though,
even.
I think Gallen's 4 walks though were by design. Because at that point, their plan I think was to not pitch to Seager,
and
right?
maybe even Garcia.
And yeah, because they walked him once. They walked Jonah Heim twice.
I don't think that's by design.
I don't think that's by design either. But I think though, walking Seager, walking Garcia, I think that was part of the game plan. They need to stick with it.
I agree.
I don't care if you've got to run on first at this point. You got to stick with it.
Yeah, that's the only way to win.
Because he is the guy who's killing you. He tied the game. Spoiler alert: he won the game tonight.
Yep, he sure did. Tell him about game 2, Brad.
Okay, Ketel Marte extended his hitting streak to 18 games. It was at that point is no longer a 4-way tie. This put him first place, all alone, all time. Tommy Pham went 4 for 4. Who's this guy? Right?
Suddenly, yeah. The guy who self-proclaimed is the long ball guy on a small ball club, right?
Yeah.
And he goes 4 for 4.
Yeah, I love it. It's amazing. By the way, he has cool shoes. Can we just say for just a minute, his shoes are killer, and I'm 99% sure, Brig, I had those same pattern on my cleats when I was in like 5th grade, but they were black and white.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Not nearly as cool as the black and red, because that is absolute fire. But so this is the cool thing about Tommy Pham. So he approached the Diamondbacks manager, Terry Lovullo, and he said, "Hey, my buddy Jace Peterson is on this roster. I know there's a good chance he might not get into a game. The game is in hand. The Diamondbacks, I believe, are up 9-1 at this point, 7-1.
7-1. I think it was 7-1.
7-1. And he asked the manager, he put him in to pinch hit for me. So he did. Jace Peterson got in there, got his at bat.
Yeah.
And I think that is a totally classy move by Pham.
Totally.
It was not I don't want to play anymore, sit me down. It was
no.
Do my buddy a solid here. Get him in at bat because this could be the only chance.
Well, in listening to Lovullo talk about it, it was he said, I don't know anybody who pays more attention to every single insignificant and significant detail in the ball game. The dude knew he had 4 for 4. He knew what was going on with all the other players. He knew he had a chance to make history, and he still approached me and said, "Hey, hook my boy up. Let's do this."
Yeah.
And Lovullo comes in and he says, "Look, there are some conditions, and I will circle back based on what the situation dictates. But I don't know if I can do it. I can't promise." And then it worked out that he was able to. I think is really amazing teamwork and really cool of the manager to do that. I just loved it. That's the kind of human interest piece that I just think is awesome.
Yeah. So it looks like Peterson reached on a fielder's choice, and then he came around to score.
Would you look at that?
What do you know? So it's funny, though. So looking at this about Tommy Pham, this is the last thing about this, is I think what we can learn from this, Brig, is if he is your friend, he will be fiercely loyal to you.
Well, I'm telling you.
But if you wrong him, he will slap you in the face on the warning track of the field.
Yeah.
He absolutely will slap you across the face. Jock Peterson, what the 5 fingers say to the face? Slap.
That's
the kind of guy
that is a great callback. It's a great callback.
So, more on game 2. The Rangers only had 4 hits the entire game, thanks to Merrill Kelly. Pitched lights out, tossed an absolute gem. 1 run on 3 hits, struck out 9 over 7 complete. Again, I was at another Halloween function, but I was following along on my phone this time, and I was shocked that he actually went out there for the 7th. Couldn't believe
Yeah,
it.
I was too. Yeah.
But also super fired up.
I love that Evan Longoria had a sack bunt.
He and 2
Did you
other
say that?
guys.
I just love that they're doing this. But the fact that Evan Longoria is doing it, because he's been struggling at the plate anyway, and the fact that he will just lay one down and then, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
we all
awesome.
know he's not going to beat it out. Like,
Right.
we all know that.
Yeah, there is one reason he's bunting. And
That's it.
I love that the Diamondbacks are doing this. We talked about this going into the series, that they're a sack bunt team, they're a small ball team.
Yeah.
And they're continuing to do it. They haven't been taking advantage of opportunities to run as much. They only had 1 stolen base in game 2 and 1 stolen base in game 3.
Yeah.
I think they need to get the game running, moving a little bit more, because with all the what we said, 4 stolen bases in game 1.
Yeah.
They pretty like it came down to a bad pitch that
Yeah.
they lost that game, right?
Totally.
Or that they didn't have it wrapped up in 9. So I think if they keep things moving, I think they have a real shot to take the series, because
I agree.
they didn't take advantage of opportunities to run tonight. They didn't have very many, but they should have taken more advantage of them.
Yep.
So,
well, speaking of tonight, the game 3 just ended. So a couple of notables. The roof was open tonight. The weather was perfecto.
So good today, Brig. Like, I walked outside wearing a hoodie and shorts, and I could not have been more comfortable. It was amazing.
That's awesome.
Such perfect weather in Phoenix right now.
Christian Walker ran through a stop sign at third base. This is notable. He was out by, you can say a mile, but it was more like 4 miles.
He's out by a country mile, Brig.
It was never going to happen. And but he missed the sign. That's what it was. He was getting waved home before he got to third base. He put his head down to step on the bag, and he never lifted his head back up because the third base coach did put the sign to stop, and he just missed it. So
then as he ran, the thing that I absolutely loved was as he ran by the third base coach, like he's just so defeated, just like, get down, gotta slide.
The coach was like, all right, sorry, man.
Yeah.
So
but
that
Lovola
was the opportunity for a rally.
It was, and Lovola said as soon as Christian Walker got in the clubhouse or got in the dugout, he owned it. He said that he missed. It. He should have looked up. Completely owned it.
Yeah.
Just, my bad, guys.
Yeah.
But it was such a bummer because it killed the rally before it even had a chance to start. John Smoltz pointed out, instead of runners on first and third with 1 out, now you've got a runner on second, or first and third with nobody out. Now you've got a runner on second with 1 out, and it totally changed the dynamic of the inning.
Yeah, it did. Corey Seager hits every single possible pitch. You could throw him a dinner plate and he'd hit it. You could throw him a pebble, he'd hit it. It wouldn't matter.
He wouldn't just hit it; he'd hit it out.
Yeah,
he'd get out of the yard.
That pebble's going. I'm telling you. So he did it again tonight against Brandon Pfaadt, and that's just what he's doing now. He's just in the zone, man. That dude's lights out. I don't know what else to say.
He is. And I will say this about Brandon Pfaadt, is that the guy you saw in the third inning tonight was the guy the Diamondbacks trotted out there most of the season. Pretty good. Not bad. He got out of it. Only gave up 3 runs, but it was only 3 runs really on like 3 pitches.
3. Yeah, right.
Right? There was a single, or I think it was a double, a single, and a home run.
Yeah.
So he's pretty much fine other than that, but it's that 1 inning will kill you.
Yeah, and it did tonight. The thing is that there was such an opportunity for the Diamondbacks tonight. If they get their bats going, then they had a chance to really dominate this game, because Scherzer was done after 3 innings. He left with back tightness. Now, and it may have had something to do with that comebacker that hit him on the elbow, and he kind of spun and twisted out of the way, and then it went, it caromed off his elbow and got barehanded at third base.
It hit his elbow, hit his back, and then went to Young at third. I'm honestly surprised that Young was able to make that play that clean and get the runner at first.
No kidding, dude. Like that was some seriously, like he must have been in the Twilight Zone or something because he barehanded it, made the throw. It was absolutely beautiful. I don't know.
Mhm.
It was
Yeah.
magic. So that might have been why Scherzer left. Who's to say? Adolis Garcia also exited the game. This was in the 8th inning. He had some side tightness. He took a really awkward swing. He has a big boy swing, let's be honest, and he
Daddy hack,
wants it
yep.
all the time.
Violent.
So, but he was basically limping to first base, and it looked like that those like oblique muscles is what he was kind of, especially toward the rear, and I don't know.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what they come back with, but he's got to play more. He's not going to sit if he can help it. So,
Right.
it'll be interesting. What do you think? How does the dynamic change, Brad, if Adolis Garcia it can't play the rest of the series?
One less guy you got to pitch to.
That's true.
I mean, Zach Gallen talked about the Phillies, about how really you're worried about Scherzer and Harper and not too much about anybody else in that
You mean
lineup.
Schwarber, and
That's what I
Harper?
meant, Schwarber and Harper.
Yeah.
And then, Nick Castellanos, if he got fired, he'd have been trouble, but he didn't. And I feel
Totally.
like the Rangers aren't too different. Simeon hasn't super shown up yet. Seager is a problem. Garcia is a problem.
Yeah.
Nathaniel Lowe can be if he gets going.
Yeah.
I don't think he's gotten to be too big of a problem yet for the D-backs. Jonah Heim, they haven't given him an opportunity to really get going yet.
Carter gets on base though, and
he
Garver
does.
can.
And Garver can, but at the same time, though, they're not guys that you're afraid of.
No,
it's potential that those guys. It's potential. Oh yeah, he could potentially hurt us, but I'm not too worried about it. If he does,
yeah.
If Garver and Carver beat us, okay,
yeah,
right,
right.
Like let's do everything we can to keep Seager from beating us because he's more
Yeah.
likely to. I
There
think
you
is
go.
the way you address that, and so. I don't know. I don't think they're worried being down 2-1. I wouldn't be worried at all. Tonight was a quiet night with the bats. Friday night was a couple of bad pitches, right?
Yeah.
Just like a bad luck inning for Seawald that was quite frankly overdue for a closer.
Totally. Yeah, that dude was
I don't care who you are, you don't go that long without not giving up a run.
And it was 9 out of 9 saves up until that point.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to blow a save eventually, and it just happened to be game 1 of the World Series.
Yeah. Well, this was the least eventful game of the series. That's absolutely true. Let's hope it's the last of its kind, I say. The game ended 3-1 Texas. All 3 of Texas's runs came in the third. The Rangers are notably on a 9-0, a 9-win, 0-loss road streak.
They're 9-0 on the road.
Thanks, buddy. Why
getting late there,
was that
Brig.
so hard to say? I know. I need to retire to my quarters. Maybe
used
sit
to
down with some. No,
not used to being up this late on the ship, are you, Cap?
I guess not. I don't usually pull the watch at this bell.
Solid.
Or whatever.
But no, so the like you said, Rangers are undefeated so far in the postseason. 9-0.
Yeah.
Who you got in the series? 9-0 on the road, right? Who you got in this series? Do you think the Rangers win this series on the road? They end up taking it Game 5, or do they take it back home?
I think they lose. They're going to lose in Arizona 1 game.
Okay.
Do you think so?
I think they'll lose at least 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this is the thing: is that so far, relatively speaking, the Diamondbacks have shut down the Texas Bats.
Yes.
Right. 6-5. Yes. I get that, but 3 of those were scored in the 9th inning and later.
That's right.
They scored one run in Game 2.
Mm-hmm.
3 runs tonight was all.
That's it.
Those are not insurmountable for the Diamondbacks.
No way.
They just got to get things moving with stealing bases, set more sack bunts, string together some more hits because that's their game.
Manufacture runs. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think the Diamondbacks can still pull this thing out. It's a long series.
Yeah, that's true. 2 more games in Arizona before we have to decide if we're going back to the Arlington area, Globe Life Field. Baseball family, the next game is tonight, Tuesday, on Hamelin. That's what we call it around here. Hamelin.
I like that. Hamelin.
Yeah.
Oh, and if you've been paying attention on TikTok, or if you have, I guess if you haven't been paying attention on TikTok, we did the 13 days of MLB Halloween with the postseason in the World Series. The last one will be going up today.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. Some of those I feel like belong in a museum, Brig.
They're pretty cool.
Some of them are pretty sick. Like the Jonah Heim one has been my favorite one so far.
The
Jonah
Jonah Heim
Heim
one
was sick.
The Jonah Heim one needs to be printed and on your wall one day. Like it's that good.
It's saved to my phone. I was really happy about it. Like automatically saved to my phone. And I was like, awesome. I might just need to like save that and like put it up. I think you're right. It's gonna go up when I have like an office studio.
You should.
It's cool. Or maybe we'll just make it part of our Halloween decorations. I don't know.
Yeah, put it up for the Halloween times.
Yeah. There you go. I like it.
All right, baseball family, for sticking with us. Appreciate you watching on YouTube and listening on your favorite podcast app. Don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, and review wherever you happen to consume the podcast. And hope you have a happy Halloween if that's your thing. If not, dilly dilly. And we'll talk to you on Thursday night.